Welcome to month one of the transformation series, Apathy and Self-Hate. And let's start by defining here what this is. Okay, what is apathy? Apathy is basically the suppression of all emotions. Okay, where you don't just suppress, disown, resist, and hate all of the bad emotions, the ones that are labeled as unacceptable due to the way that we're conditioned. For example, feeling angry, frustrated, anxious, fearful, jealous, so on and so forth, but you also suppress, disown, resist, and hate the good ones. For example, feeling happy, feeling hopeful, feeling excited, feeling passionate, so on and so forth. Okay, you pretty much suppress, disown, resist, and hate feeling all together. That is apathy. And the way this happens is that as a kid, during your upbringing, you're taught that certain emotions are bad. Okay, we're all taught this. We have this whole list of bad emotions. Your parents or whoever raises you tells you feeling angry is bad, feeling stressed is bad, feeling anxious is bad, feeling resentment is bad, so on and so forth. There's this huge fucking list of bad emotions. And we're conditioned to hate that, to resist that, and we embark on this journey, this lifelong journey, of always trying to feel good, always trying to feel happy, always trying to feel positive. That's the mission that we're all on. And it's the mission that's pumped in today's culture. You must always feel good. That's what we're all after. We're extremely attached to feeling good. We need to feel good all the time, and we're extremely resistant to feeling bad. We hate feeling bad, and we try to disown that and run away from that. That's pretty much the world that we live in. Now, with apathy, what happens is that you're conditioned this way, just like everyone else. But after a while, you just get a little fed up with this mission of always trying to feel good. And you give up on that mission. You just stop trying to always feel good. You're like, fuck it. However, you don't give up on this mission of chasing feeling good all the time, being positive all the time, so on and so forth, by letting go of your need for it, letting go of your attachment to it, and letting go of your resistance to not feeling good, to feeling bad, to feeling all of those, unacceptable emotions and welcoming those back. You give up on it by resisting feeling good as well. Okay, so most people resist feeling bad, need to feel good. They're attached to feeling good. The key is to let go of your attachment and let go of your resistance. However, with apathy, you start just resisting the two. And this usually happens after a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, of just being swung back and forth. Because, as we discussed in Transformation Mastery in the program, in this world of duality, nothing is permanent. You're happy, you're not happy. You're positive, you're negative. Everything is kind of going back and forth like that, and you realize that. And a lot of people just kind of go through life just trying to hang on little glimpses of feeling good, and they get pulled back, they know it. And with apathy, you're just kind of sick of it. After a while, you're just so tortured, there's so much suffering that you just kind of give up hope. It's like, hey, what's the point? If I'm going to let myself feel happy, that means that eventually, we all know it, I'm gonna not feel happy, and I'll have to let myself not feel happy. If I start feeling hopeful, I know that it's not gonna last forever. Eventually, it'll be followed by not feeling hopeful. It'll be followed by despair. And, maybe I won't feel happy if I start resisting feeling happy, but hey, if I don't feel happy, I'll stop feeling sad. I'll stop not feeling happy. If I don't feel positive emotions, okay, I won't feel them, but at least I won't feel negative emotions. And that's really how this happens. It's like, fuck it, what's the point? And you just kind of give up. It's easier to just give up on the positive to avoid the negative versus continuing to live this life of just endless torture, of being swung back and forth. And I personally had a glimpse of this during the media scandal that I went through. For me, it wasn't, let's just say there was not that charge that it would have had if I'd given up early on, like during my upbringing, just kind of given up all hope. And then there's that momentum, that charge that builds. That didn't happen for me, but during the media scandal, there was a lot of moments where there was like some hope followed by despair. And it was so extreme and so traumatic that it did kick in for a while. Like for a little while, I just kind of gave up and I was in this state of just numbness, resisting even just feeling hopeful because I was so scared that if I felt a bit of hope, I knew the despair was coming, because it kicked in and I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck is this? And every time things during that scandal time seemed to settle down, I'm like, okay, I guess it's over now. There's a little bit of hope. Bang, something worse happened. And I was like, completely crushed. And I'm like, okay, let's keep hanging on to that hope, a little bit more hope. Boom, another thing happens, crushed even more. And after like 5 or 6 instances like this, where I'm like, the hope crushed, at the end, I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. There's nothing I can do. And you just give up. It's this sense of just giving up, this sense of having no control, no power, like a state of just powerlessness. And you just go numb. You're like, fuck hope. What's the point? Honestly, what's the point? And if you're watching this and you're in a state of apathy, I'm sure you can relate. It's like, what's the point of feeling happy if I'm going to keep feeling sad? I know that we're in a world of duality. I'm aware of that. I'm aware that happy, sad. I'm aware that's how it goes. But I just can't. I can't keep going through that fucking cycle. It's just better to give up completely. And a useful thing to reflect on here too, by the way, is sinking into that loss of hope. Ask yourself, when was the first time I kind of lost hope? When was the first time I just was like, fuck it. What's the point? I'm gonna get fucked over anyway. There's nothing I can do about it. When was the first time that kicked in? Okay, that's extremely useful to sink into that and let those sensations slowly arise. But that's apathy. And what I want to reinforce here is that this does not work. Okay, this is not the goal. This is not what you're after. And I do want you to realize this. And I do want you to realize that you already know this. And this is huge. Although you may think right now, yep, Julian's right. I'm in a state of apathy. Fuck it all. Just by the fact that you're watching this video and you're open to hearing what I'm saying shows that there is still some hope. You haven't given up completely. And this is extremely important to remind yourself of. It's like, hey, if you did give up, if you were 100% in apathy, you wouldn't be watching this video. You wouldn't have gotten this program. There wouldn't be that same intention. So your intention's still there. Your intention is to feel again. Always remind yourself of that, okay? And apathy is not the solution. It's easy to mistake apathy for enlightenment. It's like, hey, look at me. I never feel negative now because I never feel positive either. That's not the fucking goal, okay? If that's the state you're in, and I'm sure you can resonate with this, I'm sure you already know this, in a state of apathy, you just feel completely drained. There's so much resistance. You're living in this state of just being disconnected with who you are, this state of denial. That's really it. Because as you know, if you resist the bad emotions, and even if you resist both, do they go anywhere? No. And this is huge to understand when it comes to apathy. Although it's defined as you don't feel, that's not true. You still feel, however, it's out of your awareness. Okay, apathy is the suppression of all emotions. That doesn't mean they go away. It just means you place them out of your awareness. Okay, and that's huge to realize. It's like the apathetic person still feels. You're just not aware of it, but you still fucking feel. And this drains you because, again, now all your energy is on keeping that out of sight, on stuffing that down. And you'll see people like that, and I'm saying this to really emphasize this is not the goal, and to strengthen your intention. You'll see people completely drained, completely lost, completely disconnected, confused, and just, kind of just dead. Like that life energy is gone, okay? So snap out of this. It's good to snap out of this. Feeling is good. You will be less drained by feeling. You'll know yourself again, as we discussed in the program. feelings, like emotions, are good. They carry valuable data. You can't just ignore your emotional guidance system altogether. If you cut yourself off from your emotions, you don't even know yourself. Okay, you're disconnected, you're lost from who you are, your needs. And if you don't know yourself, even people you interact with or relationships you get into, you won't be able to know them either. And it's like you'll just end up further and further away from who you are, just completely lost. This is not the fucking goal. And what you'll realize too, and I want to emphasize this, is that the suffering you're trying to avoid, the suffering you're running away from, the suffering that ultimately caused this state of apathy, it's a state of coping, is not because of emotions. Emotions never cause us to suffer. It's our attachment to certain emotions and the fact that we resist other emotions. That's what causes us to suffer. And what you'll realize, and take my word on this, when you let go of that attachment to feeling certain good emotions and resisting feeling bad emotions, your experience of those emotions will change. And this is huge. Okay, so when you hear me say, let go of all thoughts, let go of all emotions, I'm not saying resist them. I'm saying let go of that need to feel and that need to not feel this. That's what I'm saying. Enlightenment, the goal is you're still feeling a lot of emotions, but your experience of those emotions changes. That's the key. Okay? And when you let go of resisting and needing to feel, the good emotions, you'll actually feel for the first time. And this is huge. Letting go of the labels, okay, of that attachment and resistance will allow you to feel for the first time. And you'll feel more than someone who's not in a state of apathy, but who is on that mission to always feel good. Okay? And this is big. Let it sink in. Someone who's on that mission to always feel good, who hasn't, suppressed all emotions, just your average Joe. That person, although they might feel happy and have those little glimpses, they never let themselves truly feel happy or have those glimpses entirely, because they know as well that eventually the pendulum will swing and they won't feel happy. Now, they're okay with that, but they don't allow themselves to feel entirely. When you let go of all resistance, you'll feel, and you can let those emotions take over. You'll feel for the first time. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's like you'll love it all. You'll just take it all in and you'll enjoy the contrast. Okay, so emotions are not bad. It's the labels and what those labels cause us to become attached to and resist. That's what you want to let go of. That is the goal. That is what enlightenment is. You still feel, but your experience is very different. So it's not apathy. Okay? So how do you get out of this state if you're watching this now? The first thing, and this is one of the most important things, is to change your relationship with emotions. As I said before, they are not bad. There's no such thing as a bad emotion. It's just the way that we're conditioned. All emotions, all feelings, all sensations contain valuable information. You have different emotions for a reason. There's nothing bad about emotions. It's just the label that we placed on them. If someone told you your entire life that feeling bad was awesome, let's just say, hey, feeling sad is the shit. Feeling sad is the goal. And you've been conditioned that way. You're like, oh, feeling sad's awesome? Cool. What happens when you feel sad? You're no longer resistant to it. You'd actually feel good feeling sad if you were conditioned that way. Let that sink in. And that's what I mean by let go of that resistance, and your experience of those emotions will change. Okay? Emotions are good. Change the experience by letting go of that attachment and that resistance. It also doesn't make you weak. That's something that we're also conditioned to. Feeling too much is weak. I don't want to be sensitive and weak and vulnerable. That's wrong. Okay? In reality, it takes a lot of courage and willingness to feel what is actually going on inside of us, and it doesn't make you bad. Okay? There's nothing wrong with you. It's the exact opposite. Feeling everything that is authentically going on inside of you, that's good. That's the goal. The second thing is start bringing awareness to the subtle sensations going on in your body. This is a comment that I've seen pop up in the Facebook group. I have trouble feeling anything. I'm frustrated. I can't feel. I don't have those sensations. I have so much resistance. Oh my God. Okay, this is a very common comment. And what I'll tell you here is, well, what does that feel like? What does having trouble feeling feel like? What does frustration feel like? What does resistance feel like? Always look for the associated sensations. There's always going to be something there. And you have to lower the bar as well. We're always looking for the crazy sensations, the really intense ones. No, look for the subtle ones. If right now you're going through a release and you're like, fuck, I can't feel anything. Well, guess what? Bring awareness to that, fuck, I can't feel anything. Is there heaviness, in your head? Is there tension somewhere? Look for the little subtleties and baby steps. Okay, baby step your way there. Look for any kind of pressure. Even just like a little pinch there. It's like whatever it is, look for the subtleties. Look for any tension, any tingling, any tightness. Okay, pay attention to the subtle shifts and then tune into that. Fall in love with these subtle sensations. And to build on this, have zero expectations. The goal isn't necessarily to feel intense sensations. The goal isn't necessarily to cry. The goal isn't necessarily to feel good either. Let that sink in. Most people go through a release and they're like, okay, it'll only work if I feel really intense sensations. It'll only work if I cry. It'll only work if, I feel bad right now, but then I feel really good. And you have these expectations. That's not how you should go into it. The goal is not to feel good. The goal is not to cry. The goal is not to feel intense sensations. The goal is to feel what is authentically going on inside of you at that moment in time. Okay, stop having these expectations. Stop looking for what you want and be open to what's actually there. And this is huge to realize, because if you go in and you're looking for intense sensations, what'll happen, you'll block off the subtle sensations that might be there. Because your focus is only on what's intense, what's intense, what's intense. And you won't pick up on the subtleties. So really have zero expectations, and realize too that not always, but most likely you'll have to let go of your resistance to feeling those quote unquote bad or unacceptable emotions first. Okay, because if you feel the good ones, there's still a lot of fear that, then I'll feel the bad ones. So whatever is there, be open to feeling it. Let go of the resistance to the bad ones, and you'll allow yourself to feel good. So if you're in complete apathy, anything is good. Even if it's, say, anger, even if it's frustration, that is good. Allow yourself to feel anger. And just feeling angry too, comparing it to before, letting go of hope and feeling completely powerless, it's a step up. You feel a little bit more alive. Okay? Just feel something. That's the goal. Whatever that is, anger, frustration, feel it and then harness it. If you start feeling angry, you can even amplify it. You can blast on angry music. You can scream, just anything to start feeling again and proving yourself it's okay. Fall in love with all emotions. Fall in love with all sensations. You can also use triggers to your advantage. Whatever kind of triggers you. Social anxiety is one. But if that doesn't work, and it depends on you, just start getting creative. You know yourself best. Something that pretty much triggers anyone is going to spend time with their family. Your family will trigger you like crazy. So get creative, put yourself in situations that'll trigger you, and then allow yourself to feel that. Dive into that. You can also create situations that will typically evoke intense sensations, like extreme sports. That's one. Freezing shower, like a cold shower. That's another one. And just start being aware of like the little subtleties. Watching different movies, different types of movies, comedy, drama, and just observe the subtle shifts inside of you. A lot of it is just bringing awareness back into your body. I mentioned this in the program as well. Yoga helped a lot for me. You might feel resistance at first, but yoga really trains you to bring awareness to what's going on, to those subtleties. Because everything, when you go through a class, like ideally go to a class where you're there in person with someone, because at home it's very easy to resist, but you're in that class and they force you to bring your awareness to it. As you do this movement, breathe in. As you do that movement, breathe out. Bring awareness to your arm, bring awareness to this. So it's like this guided class of bringing awareness to different sensations. Another thing you can do is just start making a list of positive things in your life. You know, because apathy is really that sense of just giving up hope. It's not worth it. What's the point? Start training your mind to find positive things or things that make life and feeling worth it. And it might be hard. This is a habit that you build. But every day, just ask yourself, okay, what are some of the positive things today? What are some of the positive things about me? What are some of the positive things in my past? What are some of maybe the positive things that to come? You know, make a list and lower the bar. So a positive thing doesn't have to be this crazy thing. It could just be a little thing. You know, what's one of the positive things? Oh, I'm here. What's the positive thing? Oh, I'm meeting my friend. What's another positive thing? I'm experiencing the world. You can also, to help lower the bar, imagine it's your first time experiencing the world today. Imagine right now you just appeared. You're here. Everything's new. Let that sense of awe kind of kick in. Okay, you're here to experience. You're here to feel. Get in touch with that again. And this is a great habit. And lastly, I've also added a really intense and extended subconscious release. If you go on month 1 again and scroll down to the transformational infield video, click on that. It's a 42-minute release on the theme of apathy and self-hate. And, it's really designed to just, poke at it. Poke at it for any sensations to surface. And this is something that I highly recommend doing. Just sit through it. And remember, have no expectations. Okay? This is apathy. This is how we ultimately move out of this state. And to conclude, remember that you're not alone. It's so easy when you're in this state of just like, you know what, fuck it, of just feeling disconnected that you are alone. Pain is extremely good at convincing you that you're alone, but that's not the case. There's a lot of people who are in this state of just kind of giving up on feeling. It's extremely common just at even the live events that I do. People show up and it's so common, like, I have trouble feeling, and I do believe that, again, with the world that we live in, and there's so much attachment to always feeling good, that unless we, again, have this more empathetic approach and we really let go of like, hey, you must always feel good, we kind of let go of that. It's like, just start feeling you, and we start valuing authenticity again, more and more people are going to fall into this. Okay, so you're not alone in this. You're still, remind yourself of that intention. You're watching this video. Parts of you want to feel again. Part of you wants to come to the surface. Let that part of you come to the surface. Stop suppressing it. Stop disowning it. Stop resisting it. That is you. Stop hating you. Welcome you back, whatever that is. Welcome authenticity back. And don't give up hope. Okay, you're here to live. The contrast is what makes life worth living. If you were happy and positive all the time and there wasn't the contrast, it would just be flat. It would just be bland. It would be horrible. You would actually become, you would stop feeling. You would become apathetic if everything was positive. Okay? Let go of that, welcome it back, and you'll be surprised. You let go of that attachment and resistance to feeling certain ways, and you will love feeling. Trust me on that.